It doesn't make you feel appreciated as a nurse, because how can you be working as a nurse and you're being paid that? Sometimes it's even a shameful thing to even say, oh, you're a nurse, this is what you're collecting. It's really bad. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rita and this is Tea Spill with Rita, where I talk about health, lifestyle and Christianity. So click on that subscribe button and join the family. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for tuning in once again. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about nursing in Nigeria and nursing in the UK. For those of you that don't know, I just relocated about a year ago to the UK. So I am a registered nurse in the UK as well. So I'm just saying what it is I've experienced with nursing in Nigeria and what it is I've experienced with nursing in the UK. So everybody would have something to say. This is just my experience. So if you want to find out what those things are or the differences, then just keep on watching this video. So first of all, I'm going to start with the environment. The UK has a conducive environment for working as compared to Nigeria, and you will get to understand what I'm saying when you get here. And they have enough equipment. Jumping into the supplies, they've got they don't really run out of stuff, and even if your ward runs out of stuff, you can go to another ward and get. But in Nigeria, some things are basically out of supply back in Nigeria. So most of the times you're always doing improvisation, say improvise. As a nurse, you have to improvise. Let me just give an example. Like when I came here, I was quite surprised to see how they have a large number of supplies of linens. Like the rate at which we change linens here in the UK is not the same with Nigeria. Like here, the linens are in excess. Like they have a cupboard where you have linens, blankets, they've got pillow slips, everything. And these things are something that we manage in Nigeria. But here, every day, the linens are being changed. So, because every day you give them a bed wash or they have a bath if they are independent, and you have to change their bed linens every day. And sometimes it might even be more than once a day, because maybe some of them might soil the linens in just one day and then you have to change it. So the linens are enough. There's enough supply. And even if it's not enough in your ward, you can go to another ward and borrow. And this is not something you could find in Nigeria, because we are always doing micromanagement. Some other examples are maybe medications. The medications, they are readily available. They've got a stock supply of medications, and you can easily just call pharmacy or request medications for the pharmacy to supply and all that. But back in Nigeria, you don't really see stuff like that. Sometimes the pharmacy that the hospital has does not have those medications. You have to go outside, and sometimes medications are not available, stuff like that, Sha. But here, those medications are available, and if they're not, like I said, you go to another ward and get it. One of the things that are always causing problems in the hospitals in Nigeria is that when a patient comes on emergency, they say there's no oxygen. You start going somewhere looking for oxygen. Before the oxygen even arrives, the patient has gone. But here, on each patient's bedside, there is oxygen available, like the one that is connected to the wall. So you just turn the knob and then the oxygen is readily available. And they've also got cylinders in each ward. You cannot go to the hospital and then the patient needs oxygen and they say there's no oxygen. You cannot see that here, but I've heard so many stories of that in Nigeria. And then also there are some equipment we don't have back in Nigeria. There's some advanced equipment that they have here, and it really makes the work easy. It makes recovery fast for patients, and all of that. So there's also so many invasive procedures that are done here that are not really done in Nigeria. And it's not because we don't have the skills. We do have the skills to do this, but those equipment are not there, are not readily available. There's really a whole lot, honestly, but let's stay focused. Let's just keep going. The next one is documentation. So you go to the hospital, you want to see the doctor. They're like, what's your hospital number? Or what's your name and date of birth? And quickly they put you into the system and all your details are, there. But in Nigeria, you have to bring a card and all that. But here, you prescribe medications on the system, you document on the system, although we still use notes to like document, but most of the things are done online. Another advantage of this online stuff is that it prompts you to do certain tasks. So they have like timers. Maybe if you're to do a flu chart, maybe the next time you need to update the person's flu chart is to prompt you to show the timer there, or to show you that red for you to like put the fluid volume and all that. There are so many things that are done online, and not like online doesn't have its disadvantages. It does, because sometimes maybe when there is a problem with a certain program and then you can't do certain tasks because it's down, then you have to refer back to the paper, because we still have the paper but it's not in use because we're now using the system. But when the system is down, we refer back. So but it's not all the time. Anyway, you have to just be a computer literate to be able to work here, because most of the things that they do are done online. Then now let's talk about their working hours. So in Nigeria, we have 3 shifts. We have the morning shift, which runs from I think 7:30 to 2 or 8 to 2. And then we've got the afternoon shift that runs from 1:30 to 8 or 2 to 8. And then we've got the night shift that runs from 8 to 8 in the morning or 7:30. That's 3 shifts. But here it's just 2 shifts, which is 12 hours. So you're working from 8 to 8, 8 to 8. For the day shift, it's 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. or till 8 p.m. And then for the night shift, it's from 7:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. or 8 a.m. So basically, you're running 12 hours shifts, either day or night. So it was something I actually had to adjust to, because I'm not used to running those kind of long hours of shifts, but I had to adjust to it gradually. And in that 12 hours, you just have 1 hour of break. So, and that 1 hour of break, you're not being paid for it. So basically, you're going to be paid for 11 hours. And yeah, here they pay you per hour, unlike Nigeria, where you're being paid monthly. Like you're paid monthly here, but they're counting your money per the hours you have worked in a week or in a day. And so that's what makes up your money. So a difference between the pay here and the pay in Nigeria is so humongous. Like the pay in Nigeria is so less. I think that is one thing that NMCN has to look into, because nurses are being paid peanuts in Nigeria. Like as a professional, you're being paid peanuts. Sometimes it's even a shameful thing to even say, oh, you're a nurse, this is what you're collecting. It's really bad, and it doesn't make you feel appreciated as a nurse. But here, the pay is much better, so you can't really blame people who want to leave the country, because they want something better for themselves. They want something better for their lives, for their families. So I don't really understand why the government is trying to stop people from leaving. If they want people to stay, then they have to make the environment conducive. They have to make the pay better. I mean, there's really a whole lot to talk about, but I'm not here to talk about that one. Anyways, the pay in UK is far better than the pay in Nigeria. And again, concerning the money, they pay extras for weekends and bank holidays. So bank holidays here is like public holiday. Whereas in Nigeria, you just, whether you worked weekend, whether you worked bank and public holidays, at the end of the month, your money is still your money. But here, if you work weekends, if you work night shifts, if you work bank holidays, you're being given this extra pay. That's why people always like working weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, and people like working night shifts, because that's like extra money and all that. So I think it's a really good thing as well. Then another thing I've come to notice working in the UK is they have a lot of trainings. There's really a lot of trainings you have to go through while you're in the profession or before you even get into the profession. There's online trainings, there's face-to-face trainings, and when you come from another country to their country, you're going to do some certain courses to do some certain things again to show that you're competent in that thing. Like imagine you coming to another country, you already know how to take bloods in your country, you already know how to set a cannula, you already know how to give IV fluids. But when you get here, you have to be accessed again. So I think it's their way of being sure that, okay, what they are doing is the same thing with what you're doing in Nigeria, and then they know you actually know how to do that kind of stuff. So you have to become competent in those things. So you have to start doing it with a supervisor to see how you do it, all those catheterization, different procedures and all. You have to do it again. And then there's other trainings if you want to just have knowledge on certain procedures and all that. You want to advance your knowledge, which I think is actually very good, because in Nigeria, like we're used to practicing, and sometimes we forget the theory aspect. But here you keep your knowledge refreshed, you keep on learning, which is it's not like anybody's going to want to put a knife to your throat, but they've made these resources readily available. It's left for you to say, okay, I want to improve myself. And if you're to do a procedure and you're not so strong in that procedure, you can just tell them that, okay, I'm not competent in this area, and nobody's going to beat you up. So just let it be, because here everybody takes responsibility. So if you do something and it's endangers a patient or it's the wrong thing, you're going to take responsibility. Here everybody holds their pin, like, gold, because once that pin is taken, the pin is your license. One that is taken from you, you cannot practice, again in the UK. So everybody's always like, whatever profession, not just nursing, everybody before they do certain things, they'll be like, they have to make sure that it is, accurate, like, because I don't want to lose my pin, I don't want to, be put in trouble and all of that. I work in the NHS, so I don't know how things are done in private and all that, but in the NHS there is chance for career development. You can move from one level to another, from a band 5 to band 6 to band, all of that. You can keep on going, and then your pay grade keeps on going higher, and then you get more experience and exposure. So there's chance for career development, basically. And that is one advantage of the UK to Nigeria. Although there could be some private establishments that do some trainings, but I don't think it's like that of the UK. Then over here, there's like a lot of fields, a lot of specialties, a lot of words, which is quite mind-blowing, because Nigeria, we just have medical ward, maybe male and female, surgical ward, male and female, maternity, pediatrics, intensive care, sick baby unit, emergency. But here you can have like a lot of their words and names. So like there are so many words. You can have a stroke ward, you can have a respiratory ward, you can have vascular, there are different like words, and they have different things they do in those words. You can have orthopedic ward, and it's not just going to be one, there's going to be like 2, 3. There's surgical wards, there's a lot of surgical wards, a lot of medical wards, lots of specialty wards as well. So if you're being put in a ward, you could do like bank shifts. And again, there's something called bank shifts, where you can work extra hours. You can decide to work extra hours in whichever ward you want. So most times what I do is that if I want to get experience in a certain area, I just do bank shifts, go to another ward, just to have some certain exposure. Because if you stay in one ward, you might lose some skills which are done in other wards, which are not done in your ward. So they're like, it's really broad. So there's lots of words and different things they do, and you just have to acquaint yourself to those things. I think it makes you to become very skilled. And then in nursing, there are specialties that you can go into here. Here you can see an infection control nurse. You can see a pain nurse. That's those nurses that manage pain. You can see a stroke nurse. You can see anesthetic nurse, theater nurse. There's also falls nurses that, because they take their falls here very seriously. If you're in the UK, you understand. They don't like it when their patients have falls. There's also community nurses. There's just a wide variety of specialties in nursing here. So if you want to actually specialize in any field, just have to do some certain trainings and have some experience in certain areas, and then ask questions and show your interest, and you'd be put in the right path. You don't really see much of these specialties in Nigeria. Another thing I like so much about here is that everybody just comes together to make sure that the patient gets better. there's the physiotherapist, there's the OT, there is the doctors, the nurses, the pharmacists. There's also the dietitian as well. Dietitian has to review speech language therapist, combat team, a lot of teams anyway. Everybody is a team here. Everybody works together. Everybody knows their job and does their job. So you can't come and say, "Oh, I'm your boss. I'm bigger than you." We are all, colleagues. And when it comes to discharges, this is another interesting thing. A doctor cannot just discharge the patient and then patient to go home. There's like procedures that has to be, passed or go through. Once the doctor has declared the patient medically fit, the physiotherapist has to make sure that the patient is physio safe. Pharmacists make sure that the medications are available for the patient, like discharge medications. The OT is there as well. They have to make sure that the patient can take care of themselves at home. If the patient cannot take care of themselves at home, there's like a package of care in place to make sure the patient is being cared for at home if the patient is not capable. And one advantage of this place is that, I don't know, the NHS, the NHS is free. So you're not paying anything. Your hospital bills are free. Your medications are free if you're under the NHS. But in Nigeria, I don't think we don't have that, umbrella of free healthcare. And yeah, but I don't know if I'm going to actually get to that point where healthcare will be free. But anyway, it will be a nice thing if Nigeria adapts this system as well, because there's really a lot of things happening in Nigeria. People falling ill, people's condition worsening because they don't have the money to go to the hospital. They don't have the money to afford, bills, money to afford drugs. Then we've got benefits as well. If you're working with the NHS, there's benefits like the annual leave. The annual leave here is counted in hours. So basically, I think as a nurse, you have about 260 hours in a year, which is like 7 weeks of leave or thereabouts in a year, whereas in Nigeria is like 4 weeks in a year. And then also when I got here, I got to find out that there is something called sick leave. So basically, if you're sick, you can just ring your ward and tell them, okay, I'm sick, I can't come in today, and you're going to be paid still for being sick at home. Those hours are being counted for you, but then there's a limit to it anyway. There's also maternity leave benefits. So yeah, maternity leave is for a year, like 1 year. That's one of the shocking things I got to find out. But in Nigeria, I think maternity leave is 3 months or thereabouts, or yeah. And some of them pay the mothers while they're on that leave, and some establishments don't pay. So, but here is a year. You can decide to take 6 months. You can decide to take 9 months. You can decide to take 10 months. But you're given 1 year. So if you want to return back before that 1 year, the choice is up to you. And you're going to be paid for that 1 year. So it reduces gradually anyway, but you'll be paid some allowances while you're at home, which is really good. And then they've also got discounts if you're working for the NHS. So like you can go to some stores and they'll give you discounts. You can shop some things online, they'll give you discounts. You can there's just some discounts on certain things. So that's like one advantage as well, or one benefit. Then another thing also that is different here is the level of appreciation you're being given as compared to Nigeria. You're being appreciated for the work you do. Okay, let me give an example. Though this time when I started working, I noticed after one of my shifts, the nurse told me thank you, and like she was the senior nurse. So I was like, in my mind, I'm wondering, why is this woman telling me thank you? What have I done? I was like, hey, thank you. I know. And then next time I worked with her again, she said thank you, and I was wondering what's going on. And later when I realized that, it's normal to say thank you after a shift, like you say thank you to your team, but it's not everybody that does it anyway. It's just a few people that do it, but it's being done anyway. They also offer support and welfare, something like that. Like, so if you're struggling, there's like a team where you can go and talk to and all those kind of things to help you. There is no such thing as that in Nigeria, obviously, but yeah, they have that here. And then another thing I'd like to add, this is like a side thing. My first day at work, Now as per first day JJC, I was, because I was told actually that we should be smiling, that it's good to smile and all. So I was just smiling, and one of the patients, saw me, and then the patient was like, "Oh, do you have a new person here?" Talking to the senior nurse I was with, and the nurse was like, "Oh yeah, this is our new nurse joining us." And I was like, "Oh, she's got a lovely smile," and I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then like, "You're gonna last very long in this profession with your lovely smile." I was like, "Oh, thank you." And I got to realize people don't walk around with smiles like that. When I started walking, there are sometimes will be smiling like that at every patient, but don't like as if you keep a frown and just lighten up your face. I'm very sure that I have skipped out a whole lot, but all I can say is that on my greeting here, I have got to learn new things, unlearn some things, and it's just a process of learning basically. And the learning never stops. All right, let me just leave with this. Working here is really, really hectic. Really, really hectic because there's like a lot of responsibilities you have to do. So if you are coming, just know that you're going to the work. You're going to work the work. So that's just basically it. If you're a nurse working in the UK and you want to add some more things, please feel free. Drop them in the comment section because I know there's a lot I've not said. And I don't really know how things are done in the private field. So if you're working in a private aspect in the UK or in the care homes, just let me know how things are done there. And let's just talk. If you still have more questions, you can drop them in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer. So that being said, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you. Don't forget to like, please. If you've gotten to this point, just like the video, subscribe, and share this video with your friends who wish to be nurses or who wish to migrate. That being said, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.